Hello, everyone, and welcome to another lesson, lesson 10. I am your host, the TheBurgerStormProgrammer, and today we'll be doing a little bit more today, but it's not that significant, or it is significant because for later projects we'll be using them much more. And I recently just acquired a whiteboard and have a game projects list, an applications project list, and I'm going to add a tools project list that we can have. And excuse me, it'll be a little while, but it'll all get done. But with this today, we're going to be looking at all these panels. So essentially, panels are just like the form. A form is just a panel, and that you can hold different kind of tools, layout. You can draw on it, and we'll get to drawing in probably the next couple videos. But that's going to then be our main focus for a little while, is drawing things and getting them to move. But right now we have a flow layout panel where it just, when you let's maximize this, if we add it to the list, then add something else, it automatically flows, and you don't have a choice. So with that, let's make this form much bigger. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold today. So that is a flow outbound, and then a group box. We've seen a group box before with our sequence. A group box is just an individual box that you can name. So if we named the group box a new box, there we go. It'll be the new box. So and then there's just a standard panel that you can have. It's just a standard panel. And then you have a split container, which then splits two panels. You have one that's bigger than the other. Usually you use this for like an editor, like if you have a color editor or a map editor. Like for instance, if you make a map pointer and then or like a map icon with a list or something, we can definitely do that as a project and then add it to the screen to make it like a mini map, to where you can make it a location. You can make it as like an animation editor where you can have all the animations and then play the animations. You can have it as a grid editor, like a level editor. So, or you could just have this as a panel for like the instructions for a game, and then that's your game. We have a tab control. So this is just another panel, but it's tabbed. So what we could always do, add another tab, and we could just keep going and going and going. And then we have a table layout panel. So this is basically just divides up all your panels and stuff into different sections. Notify, picture icon, and a list box. So they're all different. So these are all the panels we have. They're very useful. The ones that I use the most are usually a normal panel, a split panel, a group box, and occasionally the tab button. And usually the tab buttons are for different modes that I like to switch to. Usually you could just do a tree mode if you tab, but it just depends on the person. With that, you could, like I said, you could have multiple different panels. You could have a panel within a panel. So now that panel's inside that panel, and then if we put the tab control into the group box panel, oh, hold on, can we let's move this over. Why can't we? Oh, there we go. We can't just move that panel, but if we move this one inside here, then now that's in a group box, so we can have multiple. So those are panels. So the next thing we're going to update is essentially, let's just let's delete some of these. Let's just when we delete them, we'll add just a normal panel. So let's just add a normal panel, and let's bring this all the way up. Now we're going to do kind of what's called the menu toolbars. So right now we have a context menu script. So it displays a shortcut when you right click. So like if we put it on here, right? I think I already had one testing it out. So if we put one, and then we put one, and we say click this panel, right? Or click this option. You could keep adding them, and then you could just add for multiple different purposes. Like, so if we did that and we clicked this panel and we went down in our settings and said context menu strip, we're going to go down and we're the context strip. So now that we can load it up and we right click, see, click options. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the context menu strip, click this, and what will happen, we'll have a message box dot show, and what we'll say is this is a standard panel. And if we load it, we right click, we option it, boom! A message box comes up and says this is a standard pattern. So what with that, we could, for an example, you could say if you right click and copy, you could copy what's the text on there. And so with that, the next thing, or the next menu item, is a menu strip item. So this is for like start. So like if I decided to say, hey, file, save, load, and then we could have a edit, like, and then in file we could have also an exit. So with that, then you come in and then you can have those specific things. You can do like save a game, load a game in, exit. And then you could, if you were doing an editor, you could basically do like a copy, a paste, a cut. So then with those, you could just it's exactly the same thing where you would click on it and then do a certain command, an event command after you clicked on it, like the context menu strip. The status strip is essentially what's happening in your program. So you already have a default set. So like if you have a progress bar, right, and you have it, you could always make sure. So if we make sure that something's updating. Sorry. So if we added what's a timer, and we went in timer 1 dot and then we did hold on 1 second. If we make this and we do timer tick, we would do progress bar, we would do a tool strip progress bar dot increment. We would do let's do 2, and then in as well, because that's the click, we would have to click it, but then we could do the timer dot start. And you don't have to start it in the default constructor. You can do it whenever. So there you go. See that it's gonna. So basically, you could use that for like a loading function for loading a specific thing and see how long it's gonna take. So if you're doing a giant loop and it's looping, you can then every loop you can increment it 1 or 2 and see how long it takes to increment that. So that's a tool strip. You can add buttons. So let's go and add buttons to that. Oops. So with that, we could go to the command strip again, or not command strip. That's a label. You could always add a drop-down button and a split button. So you could do multiple buttons. So that's a a status strip, and then a tool strip is kind of the same thing. You have more of the same thing too. You can add a text box, you can add a button, and everything can click. So with that, if we did a button, then we can say, if we click that button, then we can say, let's start the timer. And, well, hold on, oops. Let's get rid of the timer 1. And then we hit it. Boom, see? So these are just menus that you can add and definitely help you out with your rendering options, or if you want to simulate all different kinds. So then with the strip container, it provides each panel on each side, so you can add different tools on it. So if you wanted a tool on each side, that would work too. But with that is the lesson for today. We went over a lot, and if you need me to go over it just like singly and go over it, we will. But I will be doing a project with a lot of like tool strips and panels, so you can definitely get into it much more. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you could like, comment, and subscribe, that would be fantastic. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next episode lesson. Oof, today is not a good day. But thanks, guys. Have a great day.